This leg of the trip takes us from Manta in Ecuador to Panama City in, you guessed it, Panama. You can see from the navigation display on the ship that we cut pretty much straight across to get there. It's 1100 kilometres, so yes, we have a day at sea. The day at sea is passed the usual way: crosswords, reading, wildlife spotting and the occasional drink or two. The sea on the way is dead calm and it's hot. On our way to Panama City, just off to breakfast, and a definite glass off this morning.
Deck 9, Lido deck.
Which is flat, dead as expected. We are now in the northern hemisphere. This is the overnight crossing of the equator. There you go, they time these things really badly. And we have one day at sea to Panama. Oh, I thought I'd just point out there is a crossing the line ceremony going on out the back, but I don't want to stand in the heat and watch people get covered with cream and thrown in the pool. So we're sitting here in the relative cool. The next morning, so we're parked at Fuerte Amador, which is the port for Panama City. Some boats and everything out there in a little island. We'll be getting off in about 40 minutes to go and have a look at the Miraflores Locks on the Panama Canal. That's Panama City over there. Surprisingly high rise. Must have a lot of mining and farming here. Bearing in mind though, these seem to be the only two things that make any money. Yes, it's windy again. I'm trying to explain that the white bridge in the distance between the hills is actually over the Panama Canal. Angela bought me a book called The Path Between the Seas about the building of the canal. It's interesting to see the landscape now that we're here. Good book, by the way. I read a very big book on the history of the Panama Canal, and it's actually interesting to see the landscape after having read the book. People going ashore already? Let's do that again. People going ashore already? Get our stuff together and go down and await muster for our tour, which is to go and see the Miraflores Locks on the Panama Canal. Oh yeah, on a noisy bus again.
Please feel free to ask questions. Don't stay with the doubts, curiosity. I don't bite. I love questions.
This is the Miraflores Locks. Visitor Centre. This is at, naturally enough, the Pacific Ocean. That's it. That's the Pacific Ocean. Because we can get through the canal here. And I'll have a look at the canal itself, and then Angela will go back and have a look at the IMAX movie, because it's got Morgan Freeman narrating it. Morgan Freeman. There are three sets of locks, a double set here at Miraflores, then a single a short distance away at Pedro Miguel. Then at the Atlantic/Caribbean end there's a triple flight of locks at Gatun, just outside Colon City. The total lift of the locks is about 25 metres, and the passage through the canal is about 80 kilometres, all of which we'll do tomorrow. Unfortunately, there were no ships passing through during our visit. That engages with that, and that helps them climb up this quite steep slope. Now I wonder, is that from Australia with a name like that? This is the railway that predates the canal. They sometimes offload containers and transport them by rail across the isthmus to lighten a ship transiting the canal. On into the city itself. We're going to the old city, not the new high-rise area.
A canal that generates $4 to $12 million a day. Imagine if they would give each citizen $1 million. And it's a daily average 4 to 12 million, because you have the fees that are charged at the old locks. That is 100,000 to 400,000. From the new locks, 500,000 to $1 million. That's a lot of money. But 40 of the most wealthy families of this nation, that the ones that signed the separation of Panama from Colombia, because that's another story.
This indigenous lady has a market stall where she sells her family's handmade goods. Those hung up panels are what her clothes are made of. That one next to her shoulder went home with me. It's a beautifully hand-stitched panel depicting hummingbirds.
Protect us, heal us. That's what they see. When you're going to see the patterns, you see medicine, you see music, you see animal figures, you see Pachamama. Pachamama is Mother Nature. So every pattern, every design is a unique. It's her creation. You're not going to see a repeated pattern.
This is part of the restored old town. There are still unrestored buildings that the government is encouraging the owners to restore.
I don't think these restored buildings have got quite to that stage. But, yeah.
One of the churches. A bit of respect from we tourists, as it's Easter Saturday and the churches are packed.
Right, this is an incidental thing. This is real. These pews are mahogany, and I can see why in the early days they called Jarrah Swan River mahogany. Although I think Jarrah's actually got a bit of grain in this.
Downstairs they have this giant nativity scene. It's pretty impressive.
It's actually Good Friday here at the moment, so I don't know if they leave this set up permanently or not into the back room. It's very impressive. It's all very detailed. Sort of a market there.
These statues are from the church facade, which is being restored. Shamefully I didn't take any notes, but they're centuries old and will be replaced with new statues, while these originals are retired and displayed for posterity. We continue our tour.
Genuine shaved ice. And a big grubby hand out there. Genuine coconut, condensed milk and shaved ice. It's okay. You would not see in Australia. I thought it was a KTM crossbow, but I don't think it is because it's only a three-wheeler. It's nice. It's another one of these three-wheelers. So, yep, I guessed the name. When I saw it was only three wheels, I could see that it wasn't a KTM crossbow. It's a three-wheeler called a slingshot. Cool.
After refreshments and cool motor vehicles, we continue having a wander around the old town.
Ruling over. He's scared. Nearly lost some people.
Then it's time to head back to the ship.
I like this out of the three cities that we have in Capital City. I like this one the most because it's where you see the background. You see people. You see these people in a combination where they.
There's that ship again.
Stand. They only pay $16 for their stand. They have refrigeration.
Some of these smaller boats are waiting to go through the
Then on
canal.
this marina, you see, you can rent a yacht, you can go fishing, or if you when it's a season for well, and also some of those sailboats are lining up, waiting for their turn. See those little sailboats over there? They have to wait for their turn at night. They go after 6 p.m. We'll be paying from $700. $700, a small, let's say 50 feet, between 500 and 700, depending on the size. The maximum a yacht is $3,000. It will be the bigger yacht.
This is the new cruise ship terminal that they're still building. We got off the sort of like a temporary structure. And whoop. There's the boat there. I wonder what they're doing. Not bunkering or anything. So we don't go through that.
That evening I'm running around and making sure all the cameras and equipment are charged. Tomorrow we're passing through the canal and I want to record as much of it as possible and just see it. I implore the equipment gods to be kind to me. We shall see.
It's the 31st of March, Easter Sunday, and we're just lining up to go through the Panama Canal. I'm just having some coffee and toast. And I'll get out and deck and start taking pictures. Well, it's about quarter to six in the morning. We're underway in dawn's early light, swinging into position.
As you can hear, it's windy and we have a problem already. The microphone with the windshield is not working. Anyway, I'm just explaining that we're about to get on the move and head the short distance around the point to the Pacific entrance of the canal.
We've got in the queue today, on our way.
As we head up the bay towards the canal, the wind picks up. I don't realise that the microphone is not working and it's the built-in camera microphones picking up the sound. The foredeck is set up to allow viewing just like it was for the Bruggen Glacier. Normally it's out of bounds. This is the Bridge of the Americas and we pass under that to get to the first locks. The two-flight Pedro Miguel. The container cranes are where they load and unload containers that go across the isthmus by rail. But our trip through the canal is for the next video. Thanks for watching and see you then.